Hello, 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 friends. Nicholas here with DIVOted Talks, DIVOted Talks, where we are working to end suffering in the world by connecting people with ancient wisdom and practices to remind them the power that they already contain in solving this challenge that is life that we all face day in and day out. So I was reflecting right before I hit record about my experience the last few weeks. I went from burnout into full-on sickness. And then since then, about a week now, a little bit over, I have instituted a full-on routine that I'm still tweaking and still working through. But I'm amazed at how quickly my body reacted and changed. I trimmed up a lot. There was a lot more consistency in my energy levels throughout the day. And my hunger levels were completely steadied. And, again, I preach Ayurveda and yoga and wisdom, but I don't always practice it because that's the nature of being human, right? We're so close to these things that it's not necessarily that you feel like you're smarter than, but you can't see the forest for the trees. You are just the tree instead of a tree in a forest, or however you want to, explain that proverb or whatever axiom. Anyway, but I've just been amazed at, just the simple act of being regular and how you notice things. Like I notice my energy levels and how they wax and wane depending on what I've done through the day, how hard I've gone, the different classes. Now, the one thing that I could be a little bit more stable on is actually eating the same foods, like a mono diet. So I do the same breakfast every morning, more or less, shifts a little bit day to day, but my lunch and dinner have been different. But what I have been doing is after I finish eating, I wash my dishes right then. I make sure that I only use 1 or 2 pans, a dish, and then a couple of utensils. And so it's quick and easy and I can do it right away. And that in and of itself has improved a lot of other things that I'm doing, especially around cleaning. Like I am better able to access my resolve to get something done now because I, for the week, have been putting stuff in their rightful order, which then allows me to do it. You can have this after you finish that. Now, I have seen past habits creeping in, and what's really challenging about that is because we've just started the new routine or we're having good results, we as in me, the royal we, me is I'm allowing them in ways that potentially could lead down a road to what they had been previously, which were not very adaptive. And so I am, setting myself up with warning signs about that. Now, I don't necessarily think that I need to be moving from dusk till dawn, although I do enjoy that. But I did last week get in 3 workouts, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I picked 2 compound exercises that do the whole body that I could do 3 sets of each of. I break the second one up because it's a little bit more taxing after the first one on the shoulders and the biceps. And so I do it in 6 sets of 6, which then gives me a total of 12 total for 3 sets, or 6 sets of 6 versus the 3 sets of 15 that I've been doing for the other one. I do squat, curl, press, and then I do straight leg deadlift into kickback into upright row. And that's been working for me. And so I'm starting to piggyback things. One thing I also have been doing is I have been brushing my teeth after I eat and making sure that I do that with every meal. I have had a couple of mishaps here and there, but I have really only been doing this again since Sunday, the previous weekend. So weekend, some change. And, my reflection is, oh my gosh, why did I not do this before? But the answer is if I could have, I would have, but I didn't and I couldn't. So here we are. And, I don't say this to say this is what you should be doing or darn it, you're just missing out because of that. I'm just reflecting for my own sake in the hopes that other people can benefit from it. I had been like a once or twice a day brush the teeth guy or as needed. And I had really gotten into that habit. But what, I was having trouble with is, yoga and Ayurveda. And if you really do like all the Ayurvedic practices that are recommended, I watched all of us go through it when we were in Ayurveda school. And it's just, you could have like 50 things that you do in the morning, noon, and night combined. And it's not practical, feasible. And honestly, some of them are not indicated for certain doshic types. And so, but it feels like you should do that because you find so much truth in the message and the content, as well as finding, benefits as you're using it, sometimes right away. Like, I mean, it is really amazing when you start eating well and eating Ayurvedically, especially how clean your mouth feels all day long and how clean your blood feels. Like it has compounding effects. And so one of the things that I did last week that I found to be really helpful was I got an IV infusion of vitamins and glutathione and, just saline. And that I think has also helped expedite my rebound process from being sick. I mean, burnout sick is way different than like catching a cold or, catching something like a COVID or a flu. It's this like pervasive insufficiency throughout the body caused by stress and stress hormones and, the habits that often accompany those stresses to try to balance them or try to ground them can be just as harmful and long lasting. So anyway, again, I know all these things to be true and I talk about them and I reflect on them, but remember, I'm still just a student, much like you are. It's just that I learn better in presentation than necessarily in listening or being in the audience. I learn better and comprehensively and integratively when I'm the one presenting. It's just kind of where I fit into the ecosystem. And that's cool. Right? We all have our place in the ecosystem. And depending on the ecosystem, we may have different roles. And so sometimes I am the student, but sometimes, and a lot of times, I'm the teacher. And, owning what you are and being proud of what you are is a beautiful thing and just as important as the actions themselves, right? So, my friends, I highly recommend wiping a slate. If things aren't working really well right now, wipe the slate clean and then start from scratch. Put things together that seem to naturally flow and go well. Like taking a day and figuring it out for you. Like I've got my mom's dog that I had inherited and we worked out a new routine and he and I are still learning each other, right? You have to have a beginner's mindset when you're doing this stuff to be flexible and malleable to what the moment is calling. And so I take the gate with me and I block him in the kitchen with me when we do that so he doesn't get distracted by the cute little pet rats that I have that he wants to eat so badly and hunt so badly. And then I block him into the living room while he's learning about where he should be and shouldn't be and what he should and shouldn't be doing. But he's getting on the same routine with me and it's working. Like he sleeps through the night. When my alarm goes off, he doesn't get up until I get up. It's working well. So consistency is key here, and wiping the slate clean is probably best. Instead of trying to add on more to what you already have been doing, trying to reduce and remove based on what the moment calls for. All right, my friends, be well, be free, and happy Dinacharya-ing.